ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So we completed the 6th verse in the last session, and the 5th verse and the 6th verse are talking about nididhyasanam. And in the last session, I gave you in detail the idea about what nididhyasana means. And as told by Bhagavan Krishna in the 6th chapter, nididhyasana initially involves sitting in one place to the exclusion of all other activities, mental and physical and indriya activities, concentrating or contemplating upon a particular Vedantic teaching that I have received through Shravanam and Mananam, and that which on that particular time is very, very important to me to see my own Swarupa. As I said, like today, I'm feeling a sense of severe disturbance in my mind. Then I can take up that particular Swarupam of me, the Atma, as Prashantoham, Shantoham. And initially, the Nididhyasanam is said to be a sitting Nididhyasanam because, see, ultimately, Nididhyasanam has to become all through one's day to day activities. It's not that, Aham Brahmasmi only when I'm sitting in meditation. Rest of the time, I am a samsari, I am a Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara format that I am in that. Yes, it is there. In Vyavahara, I have to come down to the duality. I have to function as an individual Jiva with the other Jivas, with the Jagat. But during that transaction also, this knowledge that I am the Ekam Advitiyam Brahma, this particular transaction that is going on between this Jiva, the so-called me, and the others or the world or the Jagat is nothing but this Upadhi, body, mind, sense complex, interacting or transacting with the Jagat Upadhi. That is the names and forms called as the Jagat, which is nothing but Ishvara's manifestation. So ultimately, who am I? What is Ishvara? What is Jagat? It is nothing but one consciousness, one Brahman, one Atma, manifesting through this individual Upadhi as a Jiva, manifesting through the total, the Jagat Upadhi with millions and names of forms as Jagat, and manifesting through the Upadhi of Ishvara also as Ishvara. I can take up the Upadhi of Ishvara as my own Ishtadevata, or I can see the whole Jagat as the Upadhi of Ishvara. So Nididhyasanam, though initially is something where I sit in one place, like I do other meditation like japa or something. Ultimately, in Nididhyasanam, this knowledge should be so well assimilated by me that even during all my transactions, the background knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Satyam, Jagan Mithya should be always there. It is said that when I do Nididhyasanam on Aham Brahmasmi, that alone is not sufficient. I am Brahman is just not enough. Then what about the world? What about my transactions with the world? Jagat Mithya, Jagan Mithyatvam is an equally important contemplation. Okay, Aham Brahmasmi, I know. But what to do? When I'm interacting with the world, in my day to day activities, I'm still feeling limited. I'm still feeling a samsari. What should I do? Therefore, Nididhyasanam not only involves Aham Brahmasmi and Aham Satyam, it also should simultaneously involve Jagan Mithyatvam. That is, whenever I'm doing any transaction, that knowledge should always be there at the back of my mind that this transaction is mithya. It is only a vyavaharika satyam. This jagat is only a vyavaharika satyam. There is nothing other than that. I am that ekameva advitiya avyavahara atma. I am that Atman in which there is really no vyavahara. But as a jiva, as I am in this world, this body, mind, sense complex upadhi, this upadhi parichinna atma, which I call as jiva, it has no other go. It has to transact with the world. It has to transact with Ishvara. Okay, therefore, what is me, the jiva? I am the karta. I do activities, correct? With whom do I do the activities? With the Jagat outside. It is the field of my action or the transaction. And for all the karmas that I do, for all the actions that I do, there is some kind of an higher intelligence with a samashti upadhi who or whatever is called to be a karma phala data, and that is Ishvara. I am the karta. The jagat is the field of action for me, the karta. And whatever karma I have done, that karma comes back to me in the form of karma phala. And there is a law called as Ishvara by which my karmas are given back to me or come back to me appropriately in the appropriate place at the appropriate time with the appropriate surroundings. This is called as the law of karma, which is nothing but Ishvara. What is Ishvara? Ishvara is not, some kind of a, what we think of like Rama or Krishna or something sitting in one place and wielding power. No. Ishvara is also Brahman only, Atma only. This Ishvara is manifesting in the form of this entire universe. Ishvara is manifesting in the form of various laws by which the individual jivas and the Jagat are managed. Managed by various laws, millions of connected, interconnected laws which manage this whole universe with a clock like precision. So, what is Ishvara? Ishvara is nothing but for me, for this karta, for having done the karma with the Jagat outside. This Ishvara is the intelligent principle which is the karma phaladata. And what should I understand? That consciousness behind me, this jiva, that is the reality. And it's the same consciousness which is behind the entire Jagat and also my idea about Ishvara. My initial idea of Ishvara having, say, 4 heads or 8 arms or all that is just for alambanam. It is for the sake of upasana. It is for the sake of connecting with the total Nirgunam Brahma. But the ultimate Satyam, the ultimate reality is this consciousness without any kind of attributes or gunas. Nirguna, Atma or Brahman is the reality of this Jagat. And that is what here the Upanishad, the teacher Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma, Parameshti Brahma, Pitamaha Brahma, is asking us to contemplate upon. So we saw many Swarupa Lakshanani of this Brahman, starting from the 5th verse. So initially he talked about the Bahiranga sadhanas, Vivikta Deshe, Sukhasanastaha, Shushihi Bhutva, and the asanam of Samagriva Shira Shariraha, and then in the heart, Hridaya Pundarika Madhye, that consciousness which is available within me, Hridaya Guhayam, Nihitam, Atmanam, may you see. And what do? Vichintya. Hridaya Pundarika Madhye Upalabdham Upastitam Atmanam Vichintya. And what kind of an Atma is it? So, whatever I want to take up for Nididhyasanam, I can choose any of these, and there are many more. So he gave so many of the Swarupa Lakshanas of Atma Brahman: Virajam, Vishuddham, Vishadam, Vishokam, Achintam, Avyaktam, Anantarupam, Shivam, Prashantam, Amritam, Brahmayonim, Tatha Adi Madhya Anta Vihinam, Ekam, Vibhum, Chidanandam, Arupam, Adbhutam. See, so many. If I feel anytime that I'm useless, I'm such a limited person, I can do that on Purnatva Swarupa Atma Asmi, Purnosmi, Purnoham, Adbhutoham. Who says I'm an ordinary limited being? I'm that Adbhuta, all pervading Atma. If I'm afraid of death, I can say Nitya Atma Aham Asmi. Okay. If I feel that I'm afflicted by things in the world, like Asanga Atma Amasmi. So I can take up for my Nididhyasan initially to make myself very familiar with Nididhyasanam. I can take up any of these particular, words which have been talked about as the very nature or the Swarupam of Brahman. Now, one thing we have to understand. Unless I am prepared for this kind of an nididhyasanam, if I am a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikari, and if my viparita bhavanas are not many, because you already know, I have already said, Shravanam is meant for what? Shravanam is meant to know about myself, the Atma Brahman. Aham Brahmasmiti, for that knowledge is Shravanam. What is Mananam? Where I make this knowledge free from all doubts by repeatedly mulling over that. What is Nididhyasanam? Removing the Viparita Bhavanas. Viparyayas, they're called as. What is my Viparita Bhavana? I'm limited. Actually, I'm unlimited consciousness. I'm perishable. No, I'm the imperishable consciousness. I am limited. I am sad. I am a samsari. I am ever changing. I am subject to jara, vyadhi, death. That is what I think I am, but that's not what I am. So all my ideas about myself are exactly opposite to what I am. I am the Atma who's Nityaha, who's Purnaha, okay, who's Anantaha. But what is my idea? I'm Parichinnaha limited. Actually, I'm Aparichinna Atma. So, what is my reality? That is what the Upanishad is telling. But what is my understanding about myself now? Exactly opposite to what I really am. This kind of a mindset where I look upon myself exactly opposite to what really I am, that is called as a Viparita Bhavana or Viparya. And this Viparita Bhavana can be removed only by Nididhyasanam, nothing else. Constant contemplation, practicing constant contemplation, that is the only way of getting rid of this Viparita Bhavana. I'm limited? No, I'm not. I'm the limitless aparichinna Atma. I have to bring that into contemplation. Because I have done enough of Shravanam, I have done enough of Smaranam, Mananam, and then I have got total Shraddha in the Guru and Shastra. What it requires on my part is to change the way I look at myself, to remove the misunderstandings that I have about myself and the Jagat and Ishvara, and have the correct vision. This is what is called as Nididhyasanam. Removing the Viparita Bhavanas, the opposite ideas that I have about myself. Now, I am the Nirguna, and also that consciousness which is not having any attributes or any limitations. So, it may be difficult for many of us to start the Nididhyasanam unless we are absolutely well prepared for this. And therefore, in the next verse, in the seventh verse, the Upanishad comes down to our level and says that if you are not yet prepared for this Nididhyasanam on the real you, the Nirguna Atma or Brahman, may you temporarily shift to Saguna Ishvara Upasana. May you have an alambanam in you. If you remember the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan talked about 5 types of bhakti, 5 levels of bhaktis. Levels, I wouldn't say types, 5 levels of understanding. The highest was the Nirgunam, that I am, that Atma. If you're not capable of it, he says, come down one step further. See the whole world as Ishvara, the 4th level, the 1 level down. That also, if you are not able to really see, come one step down. See me, he says, or understand me as your Ishta Devata with a particular name and form. Hold on to me with whatever name and form you are familiar with as an alamban. That also you cannot do. Then offer your karmas to me. The 4th level. Offer all your karmas to me as if you are doing it for me. That also not possible. The last thing is stop wanting karma phalas the way you want. Give up the karma phalas to me. Let me decide what you do. So these 5 levels of, understanding Ishvara or Bhakti were talked about. Here also, now, in the 7th verse, Bhagwan Brahmaji says that if any of you is not capable of this Nididhyasanam, where you can remove your Viparita Bhavanas by seeing yourself as that Gunatita Atma. If you cannot look at yourself like that, then come down to seeing this whole universe as a manifestation of Ishvara. So that is the Upasana he comes down to. To the level of Upasana he comes down to. Level means to come down where you have an Ishta Devata, or you see the whole world as the body of Lord. Like in Dakshinamurti Stotram, we saw, the Ashta Rupas, that eightfolded. The whole universe is seen as, you know, the body of Dakshinamurti. Like that, here also, the teacher, the Acharya, is helping a person incapable of nididhyasanam to come to Saguna Ishvara Upasana, where you see this Brahman in the form of the whole universe as Saguna Ishvara. So let's read that. उमासहायं परमेश्वरं प्रभुं त्रिलोचनं नीलकण्ठं प्रशान्तं ध्यात्वा मुनिर्गच्छति भूतयोनिं समस्तसाक्षिं तमसः परस्तात्. So here the whole universe as very Ishvara's very body is given here. So, how do you now look at this Brahman? From the point of view of a name and form, as the total, as Ishvara. So he says, Uma Sahayam, this Brahman, as Ishvara, who is in the form of the Ardhanarishvara. Uma Sahayam. Uma Sahayam means what? The one who has Shakti, Uma, as his other half, Ardhanarishvara. Shiva, the consciousness, cannot manifest itself as the Jagat. It needs the Prakriti. The Purusha or the consciousness needs Prakriti or Maya or the matter principle to manifest itself into this whole universe. So Uma is the Shakti or the Upadana Karanam of the entire universe. Shiva is the Nimitta Karanam or the intelligent cause behind the universe. So Uma Sahayam means that Ardhanarishvara, that is Shakti Samyukta Shiva, is both the Nimitta Upadana Karanam, Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. That is why when you see the pictures of Ardhanarishvara, you don't find one line in the middle where you say this is different. No, they are merging. Where Shiva is becoming Shakti and Shakti is into Shiva, there is no clear distinction there. It is all merging. And it is Shiva Shakti merging only which is responsible for the projection of the entire universe. So, if you are not able to see yourself as that Atma, pure consciousness, without any kind of attributes, if you are not able to see Ishvara and Jagat as pure consciousness because of the presence of names and forms, look at this whole universe as the very body of Shiva. That is what Lord Krishna said in the fourth level of that bhakti in the 12th chapter, where he said, look at me as the whole world, Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakti. So here, Vishwarupam of this Brahman is talked about here. Uma Sahayam. Uma Sahayam Parameshwaram. This Parameshwara or this Saguna Ishvara Brahman, Nirguna Brahman, with the help of Maya, with the Maya is considered to be Ishvara, Parameshwara, the very cause of this entire universe. Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. So, see this whole world as the body of Ishvara. And whatever is happening here, the names and forms that are projected are nothing but the projection by the Shiva's Shakti. This Shakti Maya, this is the Shakti, this is the very Shakti of Brahman Maya. It's the very creative matter principle associated closely with Shiva. And that is the Vyavaharika Satyam. Shiva or this consciousness is the ultimate Paramarthika Satyam. And for this Vyavaharika Prapancha to be projected, This principle, Shiva, has to be associated with the Vyavaharika matter principle called as Maya. So may you look at yourself or this Atma, which is the very content of you, the individual Jiva, the content of the entire universe, and the very content of Ishvara also. May you see this whole cosmos as the body of Ishvara. And what is it? Umasahayam Parameshwaram. May you see this Parameshwara as the one inseparably present with Prakriti or Maya principle. Prabhum. Prabhum means what? Sashaktaha, the one who is capable of manifesting into the whole universe. That which is capable of, highly capable of doing or being manifesting, Prabhu. May you think of this Brahman as the Maya Sahita Parameshwara, as the one who's a Prabhu, the one who's capable of manifesting as everything. Trilochanam, the one with three eyes, the sun and the moon representing the eyes. Ashtamurti Upasana, we have seen that, isn't it? Ashtamurti Upasana, here also. Trilochanam, sun and the moon as his two material eyes. And the third one, Agni, represented as the Jnana Agni or the Jnana Akshi, that which is the eye of wisdom, that through which one can see the reality of myself. I can't see with my eyes, no? The sun and moon, the eyes cannot show me my reality. It has to be understood, it has to be known through Vedanta. And that is the eye of knowledge. Through the eye of jnana, with the eye of knowledge. That is why Bhagwan Shiva is represented as Trilochanam, with three eyes. The third one being the Jnana Chakshuhu, that is the eye of wisdom. You can imagine any other devata, but here in this Upanishad, Bhagwan Shiva's form has been given as a representation of the totality. As a Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshanam, Shiva's form is given here. So Trilochanam, Neelakantham. Neelakantham is the one who has got a blue throat. Of course, there is a Puranic story about it, which we all know. I don't have to spend time on repeating that. But here in our other Upanishads also, this Purusha, Virat Purusha, is expressed as what? The one who has his Murdha, or the one who has got the top of the head in the heavens. Agni Murdhau. We saw that in Mundaka Upanishad, no? How the Virat Purusha, Ishvara, is expressed. That the head of this particular Virat Purusha is the one which is representing the brighter lokas, the higher lokas, the Swarga loka, etc. And the portion of the neck represents the blue skies. So Neelakantham can also be taken as, if we leave the Puranic story behind, we can take Neelakantham as the sky representing the neck area of the, what you call as the Vishwarupa Ishvara. Here, all of them are not given. There are few of them are given here. So he says, Prabhum, Trilochanam, Neelakantham. They are the Saguna attributes of Vishwarupa Ishvara that have been given. We see it more in detail in Ashtamurti Upasana. But here he says, may you, think of or contemplate of this Brahman. If you are not able to contemplate upon this Atma Brahman as pure attributeless consciousness, think of that Ishvara, think of that Brahman as Vishwarupam, whose head is in the bright lokas, whose eyes are represented by Surya and Chandra, whose ears represent the Diks, various, Dik Devatas are there, the various quarters of the space, this representing the skies. We have that, whatever, different kinds. Saptanga Purusha also is called as. Saptanga Purusha, the different 7 types, what the hands represent, what the body represents, what the stomach represents, what is represented by the bladder, what is represented by the feet of the Lord. So it is imagining this whole universe to be nothing but in the form of Ishvara. Neelakantham. But what kind of Ishvara it is? Prashant, absolutely silent. Okay? Because I cannot look or I cannot contemplate upon an attributeless Brahman temporarily. I can visualize the whole world to be nothing but the body of Lord Shiva. If that is also not possible, then I have to go to my personal Ishta Devata, which I use as an alambanam to see the same Brahman and gradually, go up towards the Vishwarupa. Here the Vishwarupa Darshana is given. And what is the nature of this Vishwarupa? Prashantam, absolutely silent and quiet and very, very peaceful. Then he says, Dhyatva munihi gacchati bhutayonim samasta sakshim tamasaha parasthat. So we have to say, samasta sakshim bhutayonim dhyatva. Having thought of, having contemplated over this Ishvara, this Brahman, in the form of the Vishwarupa, okay, such a Vishwarupa Ishvara, who is Samasta Sakshi, who is the witness of everything, Samasta Sakshim, Bhutayonim, that Ishvara which is the originator of all the living beings, non-living beings, starting from the 5 elements. Bhutayonim means that from which the 5 elements come. They come at the same time. Bhutayoni means from which all the jivas, the whole universe with various names and forms comes. So, such an Ishvara, who is Uma Sahayam, Parameshwaram, Trilochanam, Neelakantham, Prashantam, Prabhum, who is what? Samasta Sakshi, the one who is a Samasta Sakshi, the one who is the witness of everything. Okay? Bhutayonim, that cause of the Ayoni means the cause of the entire universe, Panchamahabhutas onwards, entire universe. Such Bhutayonim Dhyatva, having contemplated upon as Brahman, Munihi means Mananashilaha Munihi, the contemplator, the meditator, Tamasaha Parasthat Gacchati. If you read the line, it says Dhyatva Munir Gacchati Bhutayonim Samasta Sakshim Tamasah Parasthat. We have to arrange the words in such a way that Uma Sahayam, Parameshwaram, Prabhum, Trilochanam, Neelakantham, Prashantam, Samasta Sakshim, Bhutayonim Dhyatva. Having contemplated over this Vishwarupa Ishvara in all these ways, Munihi, this Muni who is the contemplator, Tamasaha Parastat Gacchati. Tamasaha Parastat means what? He goes beyond ignorance. How? He gets prepared, his mind is expanded enough, subtle enough to understand the Nirguna Brahman. By Vishwarupa Ishvara Dhyanam, this Muni expands his mind, and the mind becomes subtle enough, expanded enough to understand the ultimate consciousness, Nirguna Brahman, which is knowing which tamasaha parasthat gachati. That means tamasaha here means ignorance. He goes beyond ignorance. What is the ignorance? Mula avidya. What is the meaning of Mula avidya? I don't know what I am. What is my reality? I don't know. I have a wrong idea about myself. What is the Jagat? I see the names and forms and believe that those names and forms are the reality. No, wrong. Again, that's my ignorance. And for me, if there is an Ishvara, it is with the name and form like me, sitting in some place somewhere in Kailasa or Vaikunta or somewhere and wielding power. That is also wrong. Ishvara is in every atom, every minute, wherever there is anything of a name and form. Ishvara is there in the form of consciousness behind every name and form. So, tamasaha parasthat gachati. That means the ignorance is gone. Ignorance regarding my own swarupam, ignorance regarding the swarupam of the Jagat, ignorance regarding what is Ishvara. So, Jiva Jagat Ishvara Ajnanam that I'm having, that goes with this knowledge. Why? I see myself, I see the whole universe, I see Ishvara as nothing but that one Ekameva Advitiya Atma Brahman. Therefore, this is going beyond ignorance. And this Muni, this Prayatna Shila Muni, the Yatana Shilaha, the one who is making an effort towards Nididhyasanam, ultimately goes beyond the darkness of ignorance. That means what? He attains moksha. Okay, so for people who are not able to directly go to Nididhyasanam on that attributeless consciousness, for them, the Upanishad comes down one step, comes down and says, start looking at the whole world as the body of Ishvara, as the very body of Ishvara. And once you are prepared for that, then it is easy for you to transcend the form, transcend the body, and then understand the consciousness behind this whole total, appearance of the world. That is that Brahman. And who am I? I am that Brahman. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Aham Satyam, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. Jagan Mithya means what? The names and forms that I perceive the Jagat as of now, that is Mithya. Then what is Satyam? That consciousness behind, or that consciousness in which all the names and forms are there, the whole Jagat is, that is this Brahman. And who am I? I am that Brahman. I'm not different from that Brahman. Jivo Brahmaiva Napara. And then in the 8th verse, again he comes back to the Nididhyasana and says, that Vishwarupa Shiva whom you saw is nothing but that which is manifesting in various forms. Everything that you look at is nothing but this Brahman or this consciousness, which you just now looked at as Vishwarupa Ishvara. So the 8th verse says, Sa Brahma sa Shiva Sendraha Soksharaha Paramaha Swarat Sayeva Vishnuhu Sayeva Pranaha Sakalognihi Sa Chandrama. So he says that, whatever is here, that which you are contemplating upon, either as the Nirguna Brahman or as the Vishwarupa Ishvara, that consciousness itself manifests in various forms. And what are the various ways in which it manifests? Number one, Saha Brahma. That consciousness is only Brahma. Brahma means what? Here, Brahma only is talking about it. I am, he says, I, that Brahma is nothing but that consciousness. Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma is only an upadhi. It's only an appearance. But that because of which I am the Chaturmukha Brahma is this Nirguna Chaitanya Atma. So, Saha Brahma, Saha Shiva, that consciousness itself manifests as Shiva. So, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are the three forces of creation, sustenance, resolution, available to us in various forms. In various forms. Brahma as the four headed Brahma of knowledge, Vishnu as the one who's the Sthitikaraka with his particular name and form. We can have any number of names and forms. It doesn't mean anything because, as if somebody asked, you have millions of gods. No, we in Sanatana Dharma have only one God. There's one consciousness which can manifest as millions of forms. For us, forms don't make any difference. Forms are only alambanam. So you can have any number of forms. It can manifest in any number of forms. But the reality is only one consciousness. Therefore, that is in Sanatana Dharma, that is the meaning of 33 million gods or 100 million gods makes no difference. It is a question of different names and forms and manifestations. That's it. There is one consciousness, one God, one Lord, manifesting in many ways. How many, how many rupas of Vishnu we have? How many rupas of Dakshinamurti we have? Does it mean there are individual consciousnesses? No. It is one consciousness, one Nirguna Brahman, one Chaitanya Atma manifesting in any number of forms. Forms have no stuff in them, forms are mithya. The reality is that consciousness, Brahman. So that consciousness manifests itself as Brahma, the very originator of this universe, that entity which has got all the knowledge in the form of the Vedas to manifest into this entire name and form universe. Saha Shiva. At the end of a particular time, when the creation has to go back into its potential form, that power, that form, because of which this manifest universe goes back to the unmanifest form, which is called as Pralaya. That, the one representing, the form representing that is called as Shiva, Rudra or Shiva. Sa Indraha, we see Indra with Sahasrakshaha, Vajrahastaha. So all this is what? The appearance of Indra as the lord of all the devas. That is what again this particular consciousness. Saha Aksharaha, that which is indestructible. That consciousness which manifests as Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Aksharaha, that does not have any ksharatvam in that. That does not have any loss, that does not have any destruction. Nasharahitaha, that's what is called as a sokshasaha, aksharaha. Paramaha, paramaha swarat. Paramaha means the highest, the most exalted, the subtlest, swarat, light of consciousness. That which reveals itself and reveals everything else in turn. You don't need somebody to light up this consciousness. Consciousness is needed for the sun to shine, for the moon to shine. But consciousness does not require the sun or the moon or the candle or the light to reveal it. Swarat means self-luminous, self-revealing light of consciousness. Sayeva Vishnu is that Vishnu in the form of Sthitikaraka. Sayeva Pranaha. Okay, Sayeva Pranaha. That life power as prana, And the Vayu, modification of the Vayu in the form of the sustaining, principle, the life-giving principle, the principle which makes you sentient, what is called as prana, that is also nothing but this Brahman. Sahakalaha, Sahakala, principle of time, time, manifesting as time, Deshaha Kalaha, Maya Kalpita Desha Kala Kalana Vaichitrya Chitrikritam. We saw that in Dakshinamurti Stotram. This consciousness, Maya Kalpita Desha Kalatvat, what does it do? It manifests Vaichitrya Chitrikritam, a very, very variegated and a beautiful world is created. Sakalaha. Sa Agnihi. That is the principle of fire in everything. So here devatas, various devatas are talked about. Because in the Vedic times, we did not have the devatas with the names and forms like we have now. The natural functionaries were taken as devatas. Indra, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Pranaha, Surya, then Chandra, Vayu, Agni, they were all the taken as the devatas at that time. So all the devatas are manifestations of this. Sayeva Vishnu, Sapranaha, Sahakalaha, Saha Agnihi, Sa Chandrama. Chandrama representing all the planets, all the planet, Earth, etc. Chandrama. So anything and everything that is there is nothing but this consciousness, Brahma, Atma, but manifesting in various forms. Then he says in the next verse, the same thing is continued. If that is the manifest, that unmanifest Atma, available as the entire manifest universe in the form of all the devatas, etc., that Kala which was talked about, when is this Brahman present? When is this Brahman absent? Is there a question like that can possibly come? So was Brahman not there when there was Pralayam? When did it start? Brahman, did consciousness start along with the universe? That kind of a doubt can come. So in the 9th verse, the Guru says, Yayeva sarvam yadbhutam yacha bhavyam sanatanam nyatvatam mrityumatyeti nanyaf pantha vimuktaye. So he says, it's not as if this consciousness was not there before and appeared only with this world and that's also going to go. No, it's not that. Sayeva sarvam. That consciousness itself, that Brahman itself is sarvam, everything. Yad bhutam, that which was earlier. Yacha bhavyam, that which is yet to come. Yad bhutam, yacha bhavyam. So we have to say that which is right now also there. So this consciousness, Brahman, is not something which comes and goes. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. Isn't it second chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyaha. Same thing. It's not that consciousness was not there earlier. Now it is there and then it is going to disappear. No, it was always there. Brahman, whatever path to take, ya eva sarvam yad bhutam, that in the past. No question of past, it is timeless, nityam. It is timeless. Whatever was the past, however remote the past may be, whatever may be, that which was the past, that was there was nothing but this Brahman. Yacha bhavyam, whatever is yet to come, maybe in eons and eons of time that is to come, it is nothing but Brahman. Sanatanam, that which is all the time there, that which is there without any kind of a change or disappearance, that which is constantly there. Everything appears in it, exists in it, and goes back into it. That's why it is called Sanatana. Always there, pure, unafflicted, untainted, that which doesn't undergo any expansion or contraction, that in which all the past and the present and the future, any number of creations that may come and go, including pralayam, what remains in and through without any kind of nityah, shashvatah, purana. The second chapter verse. So this is what? Yadbhutam, yacha bhavyam sanatam. Timeless, nityam, desha kala vastu aparichinna. Kala aparichinna means what? Not affected by time. Yacha bhavyam sanatanam nyatva tam. Tam atmanam nyatva. Tam brahma jnatva. Mrityumatyeti. One goes beyond the cycles of birth and death. That means the one who knows it is a Sadyomukta and doesn't come back again in the cycles of birth and death. Videha Mukta. Nanya Pantha Vimuktaye. For freedom from these cycles of birth and death, there is no other go but to understand this. That Brahman, which is Nitya Brahman, is nothing other than me. So last 2-3 verses are talking about the very Swarupam of Brahman. And here he says Nyatva. Earlier also said Munihi Parameshwaram Nyatva Tamasaha Parastat Gachati. So here Tam Atmanam Nyatva, having known. How? In the way it has been explained all this time. Mrutyum matyeti. I go beyond the cycles of birth and death. Mrityu means coming and going again and again. Millions of times I have come and gone. Because creation is beginningless and endless, in spite of all the pralayas. So if I'm here today, now, that means I have been there as coming in different bodies. How many millions of births I've had, how many types of bodies I have taken, God knows. But then, if I have to get out of this cycle of birth and death, and if I feel that enough, I have done enough, I have seen enough, I have come enough number of times. Now, it's a time for me to really stop this. I have to jump out of this cycle of birth and death, which is called as moksha. And for moksha, vimuktaye, for this freedom from samsara, which is called as moksha, nanyah pantha, na anyah pantha. There is no other go. Knowing this Atman, this Brahman as Aham, I am this Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Brahma, this understanding, very clear understanding, not a superficial understanding, no. Oh, I am Brahmasmi. I have understood I am Brahmasmi. But immediately, Swamiji, but what to do? I feel so attached to my family. Now, what is then? Then where is the freedom? So, can I have attachment? Somebody asked it seems. Can I have attachment only with my grandchildren? Everybody else I know they are all anitya. So, see, it is a total understanding. It's not a partial understanding. So, Nyatva tam sanatanam bhavyam yaccha yadbhutam yaccha bhavyam sanatanam atmanam nyatva tam atmanam, knowing that Atman. As what? Knowing that Brahman. As what? Ahameva saha asmi. Ayamatma Brahma. This consciousness, this Sakshi Chaitanya Atma that is me, is nothing other than that Brahman, which is the content of all the jivas, the content of the entire universe, and the content of Ishvara also. This understanding alone can give me moksha. Jnanatu yeva kaivalyam. That's why this one is called as Kaivalyopanishad. Jnanat. That consciousness I am. I am not an individual. That I am an individual jiva is my wrong idea about myself. Incidentally, there is a body, mind, sense complex, and ahankara and individuality, which is absolutely incidental. Then what am I? I am that limitless, aparichina Atma. And this knowledge alone, and I, this Atma, is that Brahman, which is Sarvam. This understanding alone is nothing but Vimuktaye na anya pantha. Like in Purusha Sukta, we have Nanya pantha vidyate ayanaya. Ayanaya means for moksha. Nanya pantha vidyate. No other shortcut is there. No shortcut, no other route. There's only one right royal route. Seeing myself as that Brahman, that consciousness, which is the content of everything. This is the only way one can get free from bondage. The 10th verse continues with the vision of this jnani. When I say I am everything, aham brahmasmi, the vision is what is given here. We'll just read this verse, and I'm sure you'll find the familiarity in this verse. We have seen it somewhere. Sarvabhutastamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani sampashyan brahma paramam yati anyena hetuna. Do you remember the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita where we saw Sarvabhutastamatmanam Sarvabhutani Chatmani. Sarvabhutastam Atmanam. That Atma or consciousness which is in every being, living and non-being. Sarvabhutastam Atmanam. Sarvabhutani cha Atmani. Actually speaking, everything is in this Atma. The first stage of Vedantic teaching is you are the body, you are a combination of body and sense organ and Atma. Body, mind, sense organ and Atma. Atma is your content. That is you inside your body, mind, sense complex. There is this consciousness called Atma. Then the second level of teaching is it is the same Atma or consciousness behind every container. The third final level of teaching is it is actually that in which the whole universe is contained. Since we don't have enough time to complete this verse, we'll take it up next time. You can look into the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and see Sarvabhutastam Atmanam Sarvabhutani cha Atmani. Okay, so we'll see it next time. Om Nandantu Sadhaka Sarve Vinashyantu Vidushakaha Avastha Shambhavi Mestu Prasannostu Guru Sada Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkham Apnuyat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat.